Good evening and welcome to the Monday, September 26, 2022, 6 p.m. regular meeting of the Bell Garden Successor Agency to the Community Development Commission. The meeting will now come to order at 6:07 p.m. Pursuant to Bill 361, please be advised that the members of the Bell Garden Successor Agency may participate in today's meeting telephonically. Members of the public may view and listen to the meeting live online through the city's website as noted on the agenda. If any agency member should have a conflict of interest virtually, please leave the room by turning off video and muting yourself. You may still continue listening to the meeting. Tonight's invocation will be given by Pastor Leal, and the Pledge of Allegiance will be led by Councilwoman Flores.
Good evening, Mayor, and all the councilmen and women and all the staff. First, I'm sorry, 2 Timothy 1:7, it says, "For God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power and love and of sound mind." Let us pray. Father, I want to thank you for our leaders. Father, may you fill them with your grace and with your spirit. Father, may they be full of wisdom so they can do your will, Father. I put them in your hands. We ask this in the name of Jesus. Amen.
Okay, if everyone would please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. You can stand and face the flag. Alrighty, ready, begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you.
Agency Secretary, will you please conduct a roll call vote? Sorry, roll call.
Yes, Chair. Agency Member Barcena,
Present.
Cortez, Flores,
Present.
Vice Chair Chavez, Chair
Present.
Pulido. Thank you. And Chair Pulido,
Present.
thank you.
I wanted to request for Councilwoman Cortez to be excused. She had a family emergency and had to fly out to Mexico for a week. We will now move to the first item on the agenda. Public participation is now open. Agency Secretary, would you please announce the instructions for public participation?
Yes, Chair. The members of the public will now have an opportunity to speak on the items listed on the agenda. Please state your name for the record before addressing your comments to the chair and agency members. Each speaker and written comment is limited 3 minutes. Written comments will be read out loud after all speakers have been heard. Callers wishing to make a comment may do so at this time by dialing *9 from your phone. When instructed, dial *6 to unmute yourself. Individuals joining us through the Zoom app may request to make a comment by using the raise hand feature on Zoom. It looks like there are no speakers and no written comments.
If there is no objection by the agency members, I will close public participation. We will now move to consent calendar. Does any member wish to pull an item for separate discussion? May I have a motion?
Go ahead and motion to approve.
I have a second.
I'll second.
I'll go ahead and sign.
We have a motion by Councilwoman Flores and a second by Councilmember Barcena. Agency Secretary, would you please conduct a roll call vote?
Yes, Chair. Agency Member Barcena,
Yes.
Flores,
Yes.
Vice Chair Chavez, and Chair Pulido.
Yes.
Thank you.
We will now move to public participation on non-agenda items. Public participation is now open. Agency Secretary, are there any speakers?
There are no written comments, Mayor. The members of the public will now have an opportunity to speak on the items not listed on the agenda. Please state your name for the record before addressing your comments to the chair and agency members. Each speaker and written comments is limited to 3 minutes. Written comments will be read out loud after all speakers have been heard. Callers wishing to make a comment may do so at this time by dialing *9 from your phone. When instructed, dial *6 to unmute yourself. Individuals joining us through the Zoom app may request to make a comment by using the raise hand feature on Zoom. There are no speakers.
If there is no objection by the City Council, we'll close public participation. Does any agency member wish to make a comment? If there is an objection by the successor agency, I will adjourn the successor agency meeting at 6:12 p.m. and call to order the city council meeting. Good evening and welcome to the Monday, September 26, 2022, 6 p.m. regular meeting of the Bell Garden City Council. The meeting will now come to order at 6:12 p.m. Pursuant to Assembly Bill 361, please be advised that members of the Bell Garden City Council may participate in today's meeting telephonically. Members of the public may view and listen to the meeting live online through the city's website as noted on the agenda. If any city council member should have any conflict of interest, virtually please leave the room by turning off video and muting yourself. You may still continue listening to the meeting. City Clerk, can you please conduct roll call vote?
Yes,
Sorry.
Mayor. Councilmember Barcena,
Present.
Cortez, Flores,
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem Chavez. Thank you. Mayor Pulido.
Present.
Thank you.
We will now move to presentations. City Manager, will you please introduce the first presentation?
Yes, thank you, Mayor Polito. The first presentation we have is for the Greater Los Angeles Vector Control District. So vector control, usually you think of mosquito control. It can be other vectors of diseases, but we've asked them to come to a presentation. We have Mary Joy Coburn here to run through a PowerPoint for us and also answer any questions that we have. Thank you, Mary.
Good evening, Mayor, Council members, staff, and Bell Garden residents. I'm Mary Joy Coburn, Director of Communications for the Greater Los Angeles County Vector Control District. Thank you for having me here. Just a brief overview for those who are not familiar, Vector Control is a government agency and it is a public health agency. And we do three main things: disease surveillance, we set up traps in the cities, collect them and test them for any viruses. And then mosquito management is our operations team. Those are the team members who go into people's homes for service requests, and then also in public spaces to treat any mosquito breeding. And then we have community outreach. So we do attend a lot of events, do presentations for community groups, and just kind of fairs or festival to inform the residents about the services that we provide. Here is a map of Bell Gardens and the services that have been provided since 2020. For residential and public inspections, we've conducted 523, 48 unmaintained swimming pools that we have been working with the property owners to ensure that they're not breeding mosquitoes. And then for underground storm drains, there are 211 that we do inspect. And if there are any structural issues, we do work with Public Works to ensure that it is fixed and it's not breeding any mosquitoes. Why care about mosquitoes? Mosquitoes are the deadliest animals in the world, causing about 700,000 fatalities each year. It only takes one mosquito really to potentially cause an outbreak. So that's something that we are trying to stop, especially in our communities. This is a female mosquito. It has like a red abdomen because it just had a blood meal. Only female mosquitoes bite. And then once they do bite, this is the life cycle of a mosquito from eggs to larva, pupa, and adult. This whole process takes about a week, but in the summertime when it is warmer, it takes about 5 days. So that is when the summer mosquitoes are most active, just because they go through their life cycle and they do replicate in abundance. And this is what it looks like when it actually emerges from the water. Mosquitoes need standing water to live. So that is the main thing that we are telling residents, to make sure that they are eliminating any standing water every 5 days. There are two mosquitoes that we are most concerned about. It's the Culex mosquito, which is the brown one, and then the Aedes mosquito, which is the black and white. Once again, the red is because it just had a blood meal. These mosquitoes are both common in Bell Gardens. They are found here now, and we'll talk a little bit more about them. But first of all, this is what is going on in the state, and then in our jurisdiction in LA, and then of course in the city of Bell Gardens itself. For 2022, we've only had one detection. Actually, it's up to 2 detections now. But we had no detections in Bell Gardens in 2021, and we had 5 in 2020. Now, I have to tell you, these numbers are actually low compared to the rest of LA County. We've had a lot of mosquito presence and West Nile virus activities in different parts of the county. And then in California, the numbers are staggering. And I do show the previous years just so you can kind of compare. This is a really important to note because yes, although we have 1 or 2 right now in Bell Gardens, there is a lot of activity going on in the rest of the county. So we know that residents don't just stay around Bell Gardens. They sometimes have family nearby in other cities or they work in other cities. So it's important to just remember to protect yourself from mosquitoes because you could be vulnerable in other areas aside from your city. West Nile virus is everywhere in the county right now. So the other mosquito that we are concerned about is the black and white mosquito. They've been around for a few years now. They are not native here, so we do call them invasive mosquitoes. And they are different from the other mosquito. The brown mosquito, the Culex mosquito that is capable of transmitting West Nile virus, it is normally out at dawn or dusk. So when we tell people, you know, if you're going to be outdoors when it's still kind of dark, make sure that you wear repellent. Now, these mosquitoes are active during the day as well. So it kind of changes everything. And it is important to be cautious all day pretty much, and they are capable of transmitting diseases like Zika, dengue, chikungunya, yellow fever, and canine heartworm. Now, the silver lining during COVID is people were not traveling to other countries because we were pretty much quarantined. But now that borders are opening up again, people are able to travel. There are active transmission of these diseases in other countries. The concern is people travel to another country, get infected by these mosquitoes, and have these diseases. They come back and they are viremic. And because we have these mosquitoes now in Bell Gardens, if they live in Bell Gardens, they are bitten by the local mosquitoes. Now the mosquitoes have a blood meal, the mosquitoes are infected. And if these mosquitoes are now biting other people who haven't traveled, those people could now get the virus. So we could have a local transmission. And that is something that we are trying to prevent. So before we start talking about the control methods, it's important to know that these mosquitoes like to breed in small sources. So they are in toys, in the plant saucers, the saucers under plants that usually collect water, in any buckets, or anything that we leave outside. Now, I know it hasn't really been really raining, but sometimes if we have the sprinkler water on, if the sprinkler water get into these containers, then they could also start to breed mosquitoes. And then there are these decorative ponds that people have in their backyards. If it's not constantly moving, there could be breeding there. And then these lucky bamboos, as it turns out, are not so lucky. The mosquitoes lay their eggs on the stems of these plants, and then they are immersed in water, so they do breed the mosquitoes. How to protect yourself? It's pretty simple in a way for residents. Get rid of standing water around the home. Once a week, empty and scrub, turn over, cover, throw out any items that hold water. Remove, scrub, or flip over any containers. If you have something that people could possibly be putting stuff in them and you don't need the water, then drill a hole at the bottom of the container. I've gone into home inspections in people's yards and they have bins that have like toys and balls in there, and it started to collect water from a rain like a month ago, and it is breeding mosquitoes, and their kids are reaching in there to get their toys, so they are vulnerable for that. And just a reminder, just the bottle cap of a water bottle can breed about 100 mosquitoes. We have this checklist on our website, symptomaticAction.org, and it has the most common sources found around the home. It is categorized in different places like bathroom, backyard, kitchen, garden, and it has the simple recommendations that people can take to eliminate these breeding sources. We also have these in different languages. So whatever language is spoken, we can provide that for the resident so that it can help them. The other thing that people can do is to wear insect repellent. Anything containing these active ingredients, DEET, picaridin, IR 3535, or oil of lemon eucalyptus. Wearing insect repellent is the best way to prevent bites. There are some products out there, candles, bracelets. They are not they are not effective. The best thing is to wear long sleeves, long pants, but it's been warm, so you have to wear repellent to make sure that you protect yourself from mosquitoes. I often get the question, can mosquitoes transmit COVID-19? The answer is no. There are 3,500 species of mosquitoes. Different mosquitoes have different characteristics and they have different diseases that they transmit. At this time, we have no knowledge of any mosquitoes capable of transmitting COVID-19. The other question I normally get is, when is mosquito season? The answer is, because we live in beautiful Southern California, the weather is usually pretty warm. Mosquitoes they like warm weather as well. So as long as it's warm, there are mosquito activities going on. But the summertime is the most popular time we do have mosquitoes, just because they do tend to breed a lot faster, as I've mentioned. But we have had activities in West Nile virus infections until December or January. I'm now going to share a video. This is our PSA. Every year we do have a PSA. So I'm going to share my sound and play it.
Is this you during mosquito season? Are mosquitoes biting you all day and night? Mosquito Watch is here to help end the bites. End the bites in your home, in your garden, and while you sleep. End the bites. Learn more at mosquitowatch.org.
So Mosquito Watch is another program that's been really, really popular. We partner with a lot of neighborhood watch groups or HOAs because we do know, even if your backyard is spectacular and you don't have any standing water, the mosquitoes are able to fly over the fence. So it's really important that this is a community activity, that the neighbors are also making sure that they don't have any standing water. And that's the best way that we can protect ourselves and neighbors in our community. And that completes my presentation. This is our website. This is the phone number for people to request any service. And then we have a very active social media, and we keep it posted with all the activities and West Nile virus items and other diseases also that may be prevalent in our area. So that completes my report. I'd be happy to answer any questions if you have any.
Any questions?
Yes, thank you so much, Mrs. Coburn, for your presentation. That last video was a bit comical,
Thank you.
especially the audio. At the moment, what active measures is the vector control agency taking to remedy this mosquito issue? I know the education portion is very critical because I did post something about it on my Instagram some time back, and someone commented like, this isn't real. And I'm like, well, like the education portion is definitely still very important because people don't have the knowledge of what dangerous the Zika is and, the West Nile and whatnot. But on top of that, I'd like to know if there's any fumigation that the agency plans on bringing to Bell Gardens.
Yeah, absolutely. In the city of Bell Gardens, as I've mentioned, we haven't had much activities as far as West Nile virus. So, when there is a high abundance of mosquitoes coupled with possible human cases, or there's a lot of West Nile virus activities occurring, then we do escalate our response and we do go into those areas. So at this time, there haven't been, aside from the 2 positives that we have found in Bell Gardens, we haven't had to do any kind of spraying. However, we do have our gutter steam in our underground storm drains, and they have regular routes in the area in Bell Gardens. And as I've mentioned, we have like 217 underground storm drains. Our trucks are out every week checking though every storm drain, any parks. We have routes and we look for them. We dip our dipper and we look for any breeding. If there's breeding, then they do apply some kind of control over the area. And then, of course, when residents have a service request, they're experiencing a lot of mosquitoes in their backyard, we do go and work with the residents. If we see that there's a lot, we do go to the neighbors as well and check the neighbors behind them, next to them, and across the street. And then if we continue to find that, then we do escalate our response.
I just do feel that I know that we do have 2 cases that I think traps were put out, and we did find 2 West Nile virus that were positive within the city jurisdictions. My only concern is that, as you know, we have Ford Park that has a pond, and you can literally see the populations of mosquitoes like populating over the pond. And so we're also adjacent to the LA riverbed and the real San Gabriel riverbed. So there's a lot of avenues, and that, you know, we're basically surrounded, and it makes sense why our city is so overwhelmed with mosquitoes. So I'd like to see a little more active measures from the agency. I know that you guys are waiting to escalate it dependent on something more critical happening, but I wouldn't want to wait for that. Just I want those facts to be taken into consideration, and for the agency to take more active measures and actually fumigate and make some displays of what's happening, because for those who do understand the dangers, they feel as if the agency's been stagnant and hasn't really done anything to help the residents with the mosquito population. But I understand that it's all over LA County. However, as a representative of Bell Gardens, my city is my priority. So if we can just, if I can put that in your ear, I'm glad that you're here giving this presentation. It is very educational, and I appreciate the work that you guys are doing. I just also wanted to make sure that you guys know that we're sounding the alarm and would love to get some more assistance over here. Thank you. That's all for me.
Okay, and just to respond to that, we do have a report every month that we do send out, and your representative is Trustee Aceituno. They are given the full report of all the operations activities that have been occurring in the city. That includes any measures that have been taken in the river, any service requests that we do respond to, and you know, all the gutter checks that have been executed. So I would be happy to forward that to the team as well.
Any other questions or comments? Thank you so much for the presentation.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
We will now move on to our next presentation. City Manager.
Thanks again, Mayor Polito. This next item is another CalHome Grant Recipient Award. You may remember every few months or every couple of weeks we seem to have these. We're working hard to get these grants to the residents of Bell Gardens, either for rehabilitation of homes that they are already in or to help them purchase new homes. With that, I'll turn it over to Gus Romo, our Community Development Director.
Thank you, Mr. City Manager, Mayor, members of the City Council. I'm once again proud to present one additional recipient from our CalHome program, the Home Ownership Rehab Program. And to give that presentation of the $75,000 check is our grant consultant who was able to get us this a couple of years ago, Mr. Omar Hernandez.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of the City Council, staff, members of the public. Once again, we're here in front of you because we were able to go and document and vet this resident who's going to be trying to go, well, who's going to be doing an ADU unit on their property. She was able to go and meet all the requirements. We've got all the documentation ready. So we're ready to present. Her name is Alejandra Diaz. I'd like to bring her up for you. So like as I stated, she was going to be doing an ADU unit in her house, and she would be unable to do that without a program like this that you council members and mayor were so gracious enough to go and get this, have this foresight to go and get this money. So quisiera decir algo al concejal y a la alcaldesa. En español puede decirlo, sí.
Buenas tardes, yo vengo a dar gracias por esto que me han dado. Yo soy mamá soltera y de verdad esto es grande para mí. Me han hecho sentir, es un gran logro para mí. Esta ayuda que ustedes me están dando, muchas gracias, se los agradezco mucho y que Diosito los cuide y los bendiga siempre.
So we'd like to take a moment and see if you'd like to go and present this check for $75,000, and she can go ahead and go and do this ADU and help her family out.
we could have a picture opportunity with the council, it'd be much
We really
appreciated.
appreciate that.
If before we can say a few words.
Yes.
Señora Alejandra, primeramente le quiero felicitar por el dinero que se está recibiendo. Honestamente, hay mucha gente aquí en la ciudad que necesita ayuda, pero usted es alguien que yo sé que en verdad se lo merece y ha trabajado muy fuerte para poder lograr estos fondos. Y honestamente estamos muy orgullosas de usted porque ahora usted va a poder engrandar su casa y tener las cosas un poquito más fácil. Y muchísimas felicidades. Esperamos que tenga una vida muy larga aquí en nuestra ciudad y que siga mejorándose. Gracias.
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 Any other comments before we take a picture? No?
Madam Mayor, members of the council, I also wanted to take an opportunity today to let you know that we went and we spoke with HCD, the Housing Community Development, and the LA County Home Ownership Program. And what usually happens is that the home ownership program or HCD does not allow other programs to go in second position. So the way that loans usually are done, or especially if you're buying a home, is that they go and you get the primary loan from like your major bank or lender, and then it would be the Cal Home program, and then the HOP. Well, the HOP is not going to go in third position. They said that they would not do it. So we were able to negotiate with the county and the state, and they agreed to be, the state agreed to go in third position. So now we're able to use the Los Angeles County Home Ownership Program for $85,000. And on top of that, we can use the Cal Home Program for $100,000. So now we have the availability of using $185,000 available to the residents so that they can go and purchase a home here in the city, which is something that isn't done almost anywhere else, because like I said, the HCD and the Cal Home program does not like going in third position. We were able to go negotiate that with them based on that. So that's a big win for the residents of the city of Bell Gardens. So just wanted to inform you about this available funding.
Thank you.
Okay. No problem.
And for the residents that did not catch that, what that means is that you now have the opportunity to buy a home here in Bell Gardens with an additional $185,000 of financial assistance from the programs that the city has been providing for you guys. It's a huge help, so please take advantage. If you guys are looking to purchase, this is the time to apply. Thank you so much.
Mayor Pro Tem?
Yeah, briefly, thank you so much for that great news. I do have a brief question in regards to the accessibility of the grants for, first-time home buyers. What does the price of the home have to be able to qualify and be able to use those grants?
So thank you for the question, council member. The maximum selling price right now is at $650,000. However, because of the affordability factor, now that we're able to get $185,000 for these families, they're able to go and access more homes. So they're able to buy a home. So let's say now with $185,000, someone that would normally only be able to get into a house that's in the 400s, now they're able to go and get, a house, and only have to qualify for 400 and 465. So it's a big deal, especially for families that would normally not be able to go and purchase that big home. So please go on to BG Cal Home and go onto the website also, which, by the way, your social media, it's also on social media. You guys are doing absolutely a great job on your website and so forth to let the residents know about the program. They can go in there. There's a link. You can go in there and we will go and we will contact you and let you know in either English or Spanish or Mandarin, if you need that also. We can go and let you know and contact you and give you all the information, all the specific details about the program.
Gotcha. Thank you so much. The only reason I had asked is because, I did a quick, for example, Zillow or realtor.com kind of website just to see what's the market looking like. And it's very difficult to find a home that's about, the price range or that. So for example, here in the city of Bell Gardens, and quick Zillow search and it shows it's about 11 homes or 11 properties per se that are for sale. But some of these are multi-million-dollar properties, and it's because they have a lot of different homes perhaps on that lot. And I'm curious to know, if it's a home that costs, I don't know, let's see, 1,375,000, would I be able to use, some of that?
Unfortunately,
Yeah,
though that's not an affordable home.
Yeah.
This is meant to make these home ownership accessible.
Yeah.
But the great thing about it is that with all the projects that you have approved and all of the coming future developments that you've approved, a lot of them are within that price range. So we were just speaking with the community development director, and he mentioned, well, I know that we were speaking at one particular site, it's going to have about 20 some homes. And before, these homes are going to be all at around 650, which was not affordable to families. But now with this additional help, these families are going to be able to go in there and be able to go in there. And now we bought down the affordability factor of these homes. So now they're affordable for families.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank
Any other
you.
questions? All right.
Thank you so much.
No problem. Thank you.
And for our third presentation,
Mayor Polito, we have one more presentation. It's a proclamation honoring Deaf Awareness Month for the month of September. This was requested by Councilmember Flores.
Thank you so much, Mayor and City Manager. Good afternoon, Bell Gardens. I'm about to read a City of Bell Gardens proclamation, a proclamation in honor of Deaf Awareness Month. Whereas Deaf Awareness Week was celebrated by the World Federation of Deaf, which is WFD in 1958. This event is also known as the International Week of the Deaf, commemorating the first Congress of the World Federation of the Deaf, which took place in September 1951. And whereas the deaf population includes a wide range of individuals, from those who were born profoundly deaf and use American Sign Language, ASL, as a primary means of communication, to those with a degree of hearing loss who who use hearing aids and other forms of amplifications and communication modes. And whereas the city of Bell Gardens benefits from the many contributions of the deaf, deafblind, and hard of hearing residents throughout the city and the state of California. And whereas the people who identify as deaf belong to a cultural and linguistic community with shared language, social norms, rules of behavior, and history. And we are enriched by the diverse and unique heritage, language, and culture of the deaf community. And it is important to ensure that the deaf and the hard of hearing individuals have equal access to the many benefits and opportunities available to hearing individuals to live, work, play, and communicate in Bell Gardens. And whereas the purpose of Deaf Awareness Month is to increase public awareness of the issues and the culture of people who are deaf, and to promote equal access to information and service for deaf individuals, and to educate the public about the misconceptions of being deaf. It is also an opportunity to learn about the types of educational programs, support services, and resources available to deaf people, as well as to the individuals who are deaf, blind, and hard of hearing. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Maria Pulido, the mayor of the city of Bell Gardens, with the city council, hereby proclaim September 2022 as Deaf Awareness Month, and encourage all citizens, businesses, public and private agencies to join in observing the month in honor of persons who are deaf and hard of hearing, proclaimed this 26th day of September. And I just want to say to those that are watching, thank you for joining us. My name is, and I am so happy that you can be here with us. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that presentation. Any comments from my colleagues? Thank you for bringing this to our attention. In working with the senior population, I do have a lot of residents that are hard of hearing. So I've noticed how their quality of life can really change when people don't understand their needs and their modes of communication. So thank you so much for this. It's very important. We will now begin with the first item on the agenda. At this time, I will reopen. Actually, before I do that, I just wanted to mention for the record that Council Member Cortez was unable to participate in today's meeting due to a family emergency and is excused from today's council meeting. And also Council Member Chavez walked in late for the physical meeting, but he had called in, correct? Yeah, perfect. We will now begin with the first item on the agenda. At this time, I will open the public hearing at 6:44 p.m. City Manager, will you please introduce this item?
Thanks again, Mayor Pulido. What this item is an urgency ordinance that will continue the existing rent increase freeze that the City Council approved starting back in April, that was reapproved in July. The purpose of this urgency ordinance here is to cover this period between October 9th, when the current urgency ordinance ends, and October 12th, when the recently adopted permanent rent stabilization takes effect. So what this is really doing is covering a 2-day period of time so that we have consistency from last April all the way through October 11th until October 12th, when the new resolution and ordinance takes effect. I'll turn it over to our Community Development Director, Gus Romo, to fill in some of the blanks here for the council. Thank you.
Well, thank you, City Manager Kelly. I think at this point you've summarized it completely. So that is something that we're looking to have the council adopt to cover that period that you mentioned. And we are working on the frequently asked questions to put up on the website. We recently took down the state's rent control items, because now your rent stabilization ordinance is going to take effect. So that's all I have to add. Thank you.
We will now move to council member questions. Does any member of the City Council have any questions? No. We will now open public comments for this item. City Clerk, please announce the instructions for public participation.
Thank you, Mayor. The members of the public will now have an opportunity to speak on the public hearing item number 1. Please state your name for the record before addressing your comments to the mayor and council members. Callers wishing to make comments may do so at this time by dialing *9 from your phone. When instructed, dial *6 to unmute yourself Individuals joining us through the Zoom app may request to make comments by using the raise hand feature on the Zoom and select the unmute on the microphone icon when instructed. Looks like there are no callers and no written comments for this item.
If there is no objection by the city council, I will close public participation. And we'll now close the public hearing at 6:47 p.m. May I have a motion?
Go ahead and motion to approve.
I'll second that.
We have a motion by Councilwoman Flores and a second by Mayor Pro Tem Chavez. City Clerk, can you please conduct a roll call vote?
Yes, Mayor. Councilmember Barcena,
Yes.
Flores,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Chavez,
Yes.
Mayor Pulido.
Yes.
Thank you.
We will now move to the next item on the agenda. Public participation is now open for items listed on the agenda. City Clerk, please introduce the instructions for public participation.
Thank you, Mayor. There are no written comments. The members of the public will now have an opportunity to speak on the items listed on the agenda. Please state your name for the record before addressing your comments to the City Council. Callers wishing to make comments may do so at this time by dialing *9 from your phone. When instructed, dial *6 to unmute yourself. Individuals joining us through the Zoom app may request to make a comment by using the raise hand feature. It looks like there are no speakers.
If there is no objection by the City Council, I will close public participation. City Manager, will you please give your report?
Yes, thank you, Mayor Polito. I just want to acknowledge a couple of events that we've had recently. We had a very successful Fiestas Patrias on Thursday, September 15th. I think I estimate several thousand people in attendance. I know I had a good time. It seemed to appear that everybody had a good time. And always appreciate the Mexican consulate for sending a representative there for a hearty gritos for sure. On September 17th, we also held a passport fair, and we did have our monthly family food program. On September 24th, this Saturday, we had we helped co-sponsor a second workshop for reimagining the golf course. This is held by a group KDI that's received grant funds to conduct this workshop and to put a report together. They'll come back to the council at a later date. This week, we're really excited. We've got the Kaboom grant that's providing a new playground at the Neighborhood Youth Center. And there's opportunities Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday to help build the new playground. So this is a good opportunity for volunteer hours for students or people that are just looking to help out, or parents that may have children that attend the Neighborhood Youth Center. And that's from 8 to 3 on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. And also to note that Thursday at 3 p.m. there will be a ribbon cutting for this new playground facility. This is through Kaboom. It's a nonprofit that provides these types of playgrounds, and the sponsorship comes from CarMax. So great opportunity to participate in a new playground. On Saturday, October 1st, coming up this week, the Community Family Services Center is partnering with an organization to provide a virtual citizen workshop. On Thursday, October 6th, we're offering a property owner rent stabilization workshop. It's at Ross Hall from 5 to 7. This workshop's really important. We believe that we have responsible property owners in the city of Bell Gardens that want to follow the rules. And this is an opportunity to share what the new rules are under the new ordinance that was adopted to help them be positive landlords, positive property owners that know what the rules are and are able to apply them fairly, and also give them opportunity to know who to call, who to talk to if they have a question. And the last thing I'll mention is on Saturday, October 8th, the city's having our second 5K run. The theme is BG Rises. We're going to have a 5K and an art expo. So this will be at 8 a.m. at Veterans Park. And for all these items, if you go to our calendar page, if you just Google search Bell Gardens calendar and click on any of these dates and times, there are links so that you can sign up, whether you want to volunteer to help with the Kaboom playground, or whether you want to sign up for the run, or you want to contact somebody to display some of your artwork. That's an easy resource for you to go to. In addition, on all of these, we're putting out social media and other forms of advertisement. Thank you, Mayor Polito.
Thank you. We will now move to the consent calendar. Does any member of the City Council wish to pull an item for separate discussion? May I have a motion to approve items number 2 to 6 on
I'll
the
go ahead and
consent
motion
calendar?
to approve items 2 to 6.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Councilwoman Flores and a second by Councilmember Barsana. City Clerk, can you please conduct a roll call vote?
Yes, Mayor. Councilmember Barsena,
Yes.
Flores,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Chavez,
Yes.
Mayor Pulido.
Yes.
Thank you.
City Manager, will you please announce discussion item number 7?
Thanks again, Mayor Polito. Yes, this item is for the local commission's appointment list. So if any council member has an appointment that would like to make to one of their commissions, now would be the time to do so. If there aren't any, then we would ask the council to make a motion to table the item. Thank you, Mayor.
Does any member of the City Council wish to make any changes? May I have a motion to table this item?
I'll go ahead and motion to table that.
May I have a second?
I'll second.
We have a motion and a second. City Clerk, can you please conduct a roll call vote?
Yes, Mayor. Councilmember Barsena,
Yes.
Flores,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Chavez,
Yes.
Mayor Pulido.
Yes.
Thank you.
City Manager, can you please announce discussion item number 8?
Thanks again, Mayor Polito. This item is an update to the City Council Chamber in-person public participation. We have our assistant to the city manager, Hyla Soto, will give a presentation. But I just want to make a couple notes. I was reflecting on this with Hylas and some of the staff this morning. It's been 2 years and 6 months, 2 years and 7 months since COVID officially started. And for the most part, we have not allowed members of the public into the council chambers during that time. So about 2.5 years. We were open for a couple of meetings during a lull in COVID about 1.5 years ago or so. But it was a big change for us to go to having virtual only meetings. And I think it's just as noticeable as we look to going back to public participation meetings. So just as a reminder, the council back in April, there was direction to follow the direction of the Los Angeles County Board of Supervisors as they follow the Department of Public Health and opening their meetings back up to the public. And so that's what we've done thus far. With that, I'll turn it over to a presentation again from Hyla Soto. Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor Pulido, Mayor Pro Tem Chavez, and council members. The agenda item report number 8 covers the City Council Chamber in-person public participation update. As you may recall, on April 11th, the City Council discussed and gave direction for the council chambers meetings to be to follow the same rules as the LA County Board of Supervisor meetings. At that time, the board meetings did not allow in-person public participation. They just allowed communication written and through telephone. On April 1st, LA County moved, on September 1st, LA County moved from a medium to low COVID-19 community level spread. And that was through the CDC community rating system. And on September 8th, LA County Board of Supervisors indicated that they would reopen their public hearing room for in-person public participation on September 27th. Relating to the LA County hybrid meetings, they will continue to allow telephonic comments, but to ensure the health and safety of those who plan to attend in person, the LA County Board of Supervisors implemented additional guidelines, which include masking for all in attendance. They will be limiting attendance to just 100 members of the public to attend, but they also installed enhanced air filtration equipment in their meeting room. Following the LA County Board meeting guidelines, the Bell Garden will host hybrid meetings, and this will become effective on September 27th, just like the LA County Board of Supervisor meetings. And we're requesting for all in attendance to wear masks and to limit the occupancy to 50 members of the public. And I'll stress that we'll continue having hybrid meetings to allow people that are still comfortable being at home to participate via either sending in comments ahead of time via email or participating via Zoom. And as you see in the agenda, there's always a 30-day resolution that allows for the city business to be conducted virtually. So we'll be able to continue that so long as the resolution continues to be approved on a monthly basis. And that concludes my report. If the city council has any questions, we're here to answer. And thank you.
And Mayor Polito and council members, whether there are questions or not, what we're seeking here would be a motion to just affirm that the direction that was given previously to follow the LA County process per se, and as we've described it here in the presentation, we follow that here at the City of Bell Gardens as well.
Does any member of the city council have any questions or comments? May I have a motion?
I'll move to affirm.
I'll second.
We have a motion by Councilmember Barcena and a second by Mayor Pro Tem Chavez. City Clerk, can you please conduct a roll call vote?
Yes, Mayor. Councilmember Barcena,
Yes.
Flores,
The motion was to affirm the direction that the council meetings will be open in the same manner that the LA County Board of Supervisors meetings are open.
Thank you so much. Yes, that's a yes.
thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Chavez
Yes.
and Mayor Pulido.
Yes.
Thank you.
City Manager, would you please introduce discussion item number 9?
Yes, thanks again, Mayor Polito. This item is an update and to provide information to the council regarding a series of legal actions that the city took over the last approximately three and a half years. And to give an update and to make sure that the council understands where we're at. We have outside counsel Gary Basio joining us today, and we have a PowerPoint presentation. At the end of the presentation, we would like to do is have a receive and file motion, and then if there's any further direction at that time, the council could provide that as well. So with that, I'll turn it over to Gary to go through the PowerPoint presentation that's up on the screen now.
Great, thank you very much, council members, Mayor Pulido, staff, and members of the public. Thank you for having me with you this evening to give you a background and update on the current status of these actions against former council member Jennifer Rodriguez. Just to go back to the beginning, so to speak, we can have the next slide, please. So in the years 2016 through 2017, former council member Jennifer Rodriguez failed to attend consecutive meetings of the city council and successor meetings for periods of 60 days at a time. That was in violation of Government Code Section 36513. So as a result of her failing to fulfill her duties as a council member, I was asked to step in by the former city attorney and the then council to determine what can be done to remove council member Rodriguez from office. The method that was chosen was called a quo warranto action. The quo warranto action is an action brought with the approval of the state attorney general to file an action in quo warranto against Ms. Rodriguez for her failure to fulfill her duties under the government code. That action was filed on February 15, 2018, served on Ms. Rodriguez. She retained counsel who answered that complaint, and we engaged in discovery, including the taking of her deposition, the exchange of discovery, written discovery, documentation, etc. The duties of a council member in the state of California, of course, include attending meetings. However, if the need arises and for health reasons or otherwise, or in emergencies, a council member can request an excuse for absences. It was determined in the discovery process and in the deposition process that Ms. Rodriguez never requested an excuse or requested permission from the then council for her failure to appear at these council meetings. This matter, because she would not voluntarily resign, this matter went to a court trial on September 9, 2019. It was not a jury trial, it was a court trial in front of a judge in the Los Angeles Superior Court, Department 36. Live witnesses were presented. Documentation was presented to the court. And after closing argument, the court took it under submission and thereafter ruled that Ms. Rodriguez had in fact violated her duties under the government code and ordered that she be removed from her seat on the council. Next slide, please. As a result of the removal of Ms. Rodriguez from the council, I was then asked to make a determination as to what amount of monies in benefits that Ms. Rodriguez had collected during that period of time that she was not present, and advise the council as to whether there would be any opportunity to recover those benefits or the value of those benefits. Those benefits amounted to $29,979.35. I was thereafter instructed by the council to file a lawsuit against Ms. Rodriguez for breach of fiduciary duty, conversion, unjust enrichment, and fraud, as she gained the benefit of these services without acting under her duties under the government code. After several attempts to serve Ms. Rodriguez, because it was obvious she was evading service of that lawsuit, we were finally successful in serving her by substituted service at her home. She then had 30 days in which to file a timely answer to that complaint. She did not. After 30 days, she was in default, and a default was entered against her on February 8, 2022. Subsequent to that default, which basically is a court document stating that she failed to answer the complaint, the next step in order to enforce the judgment and attempt to collect the monies was to enter a default judgment, which I prepared, filed with the court, and the default judgment was entered on February 9, 2022. That default judgment in essence says that she owes the city the sum of $29,979. She has failed to make any payment despite requests for payment. I thereafter advised the council as to what could be done next to try to enforce this judgment and what can be done. And what I did on behalf of the council and the city was to enter what's called an abstract of judgment. That abstract of judgment is a document that is filed with the County Registrar Recorder's Office. And what it does is it alerts creditors as to the judgment against her. And if she desires to either sell her home, refinance, purchase another property, she will have to satisfy this judgment before doing so. The only other method of trying to collect on this judgment would be to garnish wages. But in order to garnish wages, he would have to have a job that we are aware of. And we would then have to issue a wage garnishment order on that employer in order to garnish wages up to 25% of every paycheck. I am not aware that she is currently working for any entity or company. And therefore, we have not, or I have not been informed to garnish wages because you cannot garnish wages without wages being earned. So the abstract of judgment and the judgment itself is valid for 10 years, can be renewed after 10 years. I anticipate, unless she voluntarily begins to make payments or pays the entire amount, which I do not expect, I suspect that the city may only likely get paid when and if she decides to sell her property, refinance, or purchase another property. That concludes my presentation. I'd be more than happy to answer any questions that council members or Mayor Pulido may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions or comments?
Just Gary, the slides are going to be available, I'm assuming on the consent calendar items for the city website.
Michael, I'm assuming they will.
I'm sorry, Councilmember Flores, could you repeat that for me, please? Yes, we can make the slides available on the city's website.
Any questions?
And
when was our last communication with Jennifer Rodriguez in regards to collecting the $29,000?
when was the last communication with her?
Right.
I believe the last communication with her was in March or April of this year. But by way of letter to her home, for which she did not respond.
Would it be possible for us to send her correspondence and trying to collect maybe on a monthly basis or some kind of way of keeping her debts fresh in her mind? Maybe she forgot that she owes the residents of Bell Gardens $29,000 and maybe we can remind her about that debt.
Yes, I can certainly do that. If you would like for me to do that on a 30-day basis or on a 60-day basis, I can follow up and continue. And I can do that as often as you would like. Sure.
Thank you.
I have one question, Mr. Basile. I did notice you mentioned on your presentation that there were several 60-day periods. But do you know how many days in total we're talking about here? I know the number, I heard the number before, but I don't remember at this time.
The first instances of her failure to appear were approximately over a period of about 90 days. The second instance was approximately 63 or 64 days. So I don't have that in front of me, but we're talking about 90 and 60, about 150 days of her failing to appear at city council meetings. Now, obviously, city council meetings are not conducted on a daily basis, so they're conducted every 2 weeks, as are the successor agency meetings. So it's not a matter of her not fulfilling her duties on a daily basis, but fulfilling her duties as a council member in attending council meetings, in attending successor agency meetings. She did not participate initially for approximately 90 days every 2 weeks without a valid excuse or a reason. And then again, and that was in September through approximately November of 2016. And then again from mid-January of 2017 for approximately another 64 days or thereabouts, she again failed to attend any council member meetings or successor agency meetings without a valid excuse.
Thank you for clarifying, boss.
And the amount of 29,000 was determined by taking the yearly benefits that she would have received and subtracting that approximately 150 days from it. So that's how that amount was calculated.
Thank you.
By the city, correct.
I would have to review video footage, but from what I remember, aside from the 60 days of consecutive absences, there was a behavior of coming into the council meeting, waiting for roll call vote, and after that leaving. So I think aside from missing 60 days twice, there was the neglected participation in between because there was no participation during the meeting and voting and making the decisions for residents. There was just the walking in, yes, I'm present, and then walking out through our side door. So I think it's in reality, the unjust enrichment that we saw during that period was not only of 120 days, but of much longer. So I would really hope that one day we'll collect this money for the residents of Bell Gardens. I think that, city manager, what's the median household in Bell Gardens income?
Approximately 39,000.
Yeah, so we're looking at about a household worth of income that it's still owed to the city of Bell Gardens. We could do so much with 30,000. We could beautify one of our parks. We could put together a whole program. We could give scholarships, but yet we're still waiting to collect this money since 2016, I want to say, in reality.
Yes. Yes, you're right, Mayor Polito. She did. There were also instances of her either showing up late or showing up for 5 minutes and then leaving council meetings, basically indicating I have to leave and not asking permission or with a valid excuse.
Any other questions or comments? Yes.
Briefly, I do want to echo the sentiment and you know the comments that my colleagues have made on this. You know, I think it's absolutely wrong. You know, having someone in a position of counsel and you know being neglectful to the community of Bell Gardens. You know, 2016. This is what, 6 years already, 7 years, close to 7 years. And you know, it just hurts because you know our residents are hardworking. You know, they put in work day in and day out to try to make a living. And there's just so many things that we could do with that fund, with those funds. And, you know, we always talk about improvements in other departments, whether that's the public works or improvements at the parks or you name it, you know, it's amenities for the community, right? And there's just so much that could be done with that, with those funds. So I really hope that in the future, we're able to receive not necessarily what's rightfully ours as a city, but what's rightfully, you know, the residents of Bell Gardens. So yeah. Thank you.
If you want to give me direction, I will within the next week send her another letter follow-up and try to encourage her to pay the full amount or establish a payment plan. But if you want to give me the direction to do it every 30 days, every 60 days, I will take direction from the council.
I'll motion to give direction to send out a letter every 30 days, please.
I'll go ahead and second that.
We have a motion and a second to send a collections letter to Jennifer Rodriguez for once a month for the foreseeable future until we collect. City Clerk, can you please conduct a roll call vote?
Yes, Mayor. Councilmember Barcena,
Yes.
Flores,
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Chavez.
Yes.
Mayor Pulido.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Gary, for that presentation.
Thank you all. Have a good rest of your evening. Thank you. I'll give you updates as they come. Thank you.
Thank you. Public participation is now open for items not listed on the agenda. City Clerk, please announce the instructions for public participation.
Yes, Mayor, there are no written comments. The members of the public will now have an opportunity to speak on the items listed on the agenda, or not listed on the agenda. Please state your name for the record before addressing your comments to the mayor and council members. Each speaker is limited to 3 minutes. Anyone wishing to make a comment may do so at this time by pressing *9. When instructed, press *6 to unmute yourself. Individuals joining us through the Zoom app may request to make a comment by using the raise hand feature. It looks like there are no speakers.
If there's no objection by the City Council, I will close public participation. We will now move to council member comments. Councilmember Barcena.
No comment, just thank you everyone for doing your job here in the city of Bell Gardens and working hard for the residents. That includes my colleagues, the council and city manager and all the directors and all of our part-time and full-time. Thank you.
Councilmember Flores.
Yes, I just want to say thank you so much to our Public Works Department. I've seen a lot of updates that every day I look at a different corner and they're just actively working on it. It really goes to show all the work that we do here in the city. And I just can't believe like how much they're working. I see them all the time, every day, in every corner, working on something. And I'm really genuinely grateful because I get text messages and, although yes, it's the staff doing all of the work, we get the credit. And they're like, muchas gracias, Lisa, porque ya me quitaste como este pedazo rojo de la banqueta, or thank you so much for fixing this street. And it makes a huge impact in our residents' life. And I'm really genuinely grateful for every single Public Works employee that serves this community. And on that note, I hope that you guys can help us come over. Tomorrow is the first day for our volunteer for the playground at Bell Gardens Neighborhood Youth Center. This is an opportunity for you to just be a part of the street, because it's not every day that we have a kaboom coming to our city, creating a new playground for our children. Regardless of whether you have children today or not, perhaps one day you will, and then you can come back and say your mom came or your dad came or helped build this playground. Right now you're here playing, and it's a great investment for our children. And I do believe that there's a lot of gratitude and a good feelings and sentiments, endorphins that come through your body when you help and you give back. And that's a great place to be. So I invite all of the residents of the city of Bell Gardens to please join us tomorrow and the day after that to come and volunteer and help us build a new playground. With that said, I hope that you guys all have access to COVID testing. COVID is still, unfortunately, alive and well, thanks to Bell Gardens being one of the highest cities that is vaccinated in all of LA County. We have things more under control over here. But if you need access to a COVID test, please reach out to us. Please reach out to me directly if you'd like, and we'd be more than happy to provide a COVID test for you, free of charge, no questions asked. And with that, I hope you guys all have a lovely start of your week, and we'll see you guys soon. Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem Chavez.
Thank you so much, everyone, for the opportunity. And again, great council meeting. Briefly, there's been a couple of things happening around the city. Want to say great event that we had at Fiestas Patrias was incredible. Thousands of our community was out there. We had a really great time. Shout out to the consulate for coming out and really taking, spearing this themselves, and sort of that passion that they have that just kind of spirits our whole city of Bell Gardens. During that time. Other than that, I know we have the next big holiday would probably be Halloween coming up. I know we have a 5K coming up as well, so that's gonna be fun. I know last year we didn't have one, so it's great to see that coming back. So I'll be sure to run the 5K, and I encourage everyone else to participate on that. Perhaps I might send out a challenge to all my colleagues to run the 5K with me. Includes you, city manager, as well, city attorney, everyone. It'll be fun. But other than that, I know that there's been a couple activity happening in the city. I know this last week, or I should say probably early weekend or on Friday night, in the middle of the week, middle of the night, like I think 4 or 3 a.m., we had a huge fire. There was I believe a warehouse or a company. There was a fire at Florence. I believe it was Florence and Scout, and I know we didn't touch on it, but if possible, I'd appreciate if the chief can give us an update on the situation. But I know we had multiple fire stations out there, including our very own fire station 39 was out there, and it happened in the middle of the night. Do we know what's the cause of the fire or any of that, and how that came about? I know it's us last minute, but yeah.
Yeah, not at this time. We're waiting on a report from fire.
Okay, sounds good. But other than that, I'll go ahead and keep my comments short now, and I appreciate everyone, and I'll see you all in October. Thank you.
Mayor, if I may, I'd like to say one more thing before you close off the meeting.
Yes.
Tomorrow afternoon, actually tomorrow all day, there's going to be a special on Spectrum News. They're going to talk about the fentanyl epidemic, and they're specifically highlighting what's happening in Bell Gardens and the efforts that the city is doing to lead, to help the residents and just kind of guide and educate people through the epidemic of fentanyl. It's going to be running on Spectrum News all day tomorrow. The chief is in it. I'm in it. The council. Hopefully you guys can all tune in and watch that and share with your loved ones so that we can alert the community and save lives. Thank you. What's up?
Thank you. I just want to thank everybody for being here tonight for the presentations, and also for my colleagues for fulfilling your duties as elected officials and participating in the meetings. I know that some of us have missed one or two here and there, but we've had a reason for missing them. I'm very excited to see the City of Bell Gardens receive a big $29,000 paycheck from Jennifer Rodriguez, and maybe we can start a workshop or something where we can explore how we can spend that money and invest it back in our community if and when we do collect it. And coincidentally, thinking back to 2016, tomorrow is Priscilla Flores' birthday. So if you're in contact with her, happy birthday to her. I'll send her a text message. And thank you so much for being here and for everything that you do. And
I'll be that council member now.
Mayor Pro Tem Chavez said he was going to keep his comments short, but it's not in his nature to do that. So we'll go back and.
This is a good one. This is a good one. So, and this is different, out of the ordinary. So obviously this is huge. Next council meeting, everyone's invited, come out. It's finally in public. I mean, it's always been in public, but now you can actually be here in the chamber. So I'm pretty excited to see everyone, and we can hopefully mingle and be in person again. So even though we've always been in person with the events and stuff, but this time now here in our city council chamber. So I'm excited about that. So thank you so much.
While socially distancing, wearing face masks and hand sanitizing. So thank you so much, and we'll see you next month. And if there's an objection by the city council, I will adjourn tonight's meeting at 7:25 p.m. Thank you.